The speech is roughly 18 to 20 minutes. So without further ado, please welcome Ken Brown.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kenneth K. Brown, PhD in biomedical sciences with a postdoctorate degree in electrical engineering and certification in project management with 50 years of laboratory experience. 34 of those years were in NIOSH as a research chemist. And during that time, as a government employee, we're allowed training. We were given here training in Stephen Covey's 8 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I've noticed that they still give that once in a while. And I took that, and I think it's profoundly influenced me. And I'd like to talk about one of the aspects. But the very first habit of a highly effective person is a habit of proactivity. The speech is about proactivity. I also have 36 years of teaching experience and 26 years at Toastmasters and 26 years of teaching. I'm going to use Toastmasters techniques to teach the concept of proactivity because I really think it's important to understand. And it's hard to understand. It's a psychology term. But I'm going to do it by using primarily two things, as a metaphor and also an anecdotal story. Imagine for a second that you found a magic lamp. Imagine for a second that magic lamp had a genie in it. And imagine you had the ability to make 3 wishes of your deepest heart's desires to satisfy your life. The question is, would you do it? The story of Aladdin and the lamp. Aladdin found his magic lamp in the Cave of Wonders, and he went to the wilderness, and the entrance to the Cave of Wonders had a tiger's head. And that tiger's head said, only he can enter that has merit within, who is a diamond in the rough. And in fact, in the movie, the first person got chewed up and spit out. But he got in. Aladdin was a diamond in the rough, and he went through a tunnel to this Cave of Wonders. And he entered the Cave of Wonders that was filled with piles of treasures. Pile of gold, pile of silver, diamonds, jewels, gems. However, the treasure of all treasures was this magic lamp that had a genie. And that's the treasure he found and left. As soon as he left, though, he encountered Jafar. And most of the story is Jafar trying to take the magic lamp, or he did at one time take it away from him. So he is the antagonist of the story of the magic lamp. I'm going to use this story of the magic lamp as a metaphor for proactivity. Proactive is a word that was first coined by Viktor Frankl in 1946 in his famous book, Man's Search for Meaning. Very profound book. He went through 5 concentration camps and survived. And he defined proactive, said that between the stimulus and response there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response to the stimulus. And in our response lies all our growth and our freedom. So he defined proactivity. Covey, who did the 8 Habits, also came across this, and he says this is the fundamental of all habits. And he says unless somebody develops a habit of proactivity, they can't develop the other 7. And incidentally, the other 7 is basically how to fight Jafar. Okay. So this space for us is our self-awareness. It's our ability to have a creative response to a situation. Our freedom to choose how to respond to something. and the ability to identify our passions and wishes. The opposite of proactive is reactive. An example of a reactive person is somebody who's been drafted into the military. Had all his rights taken away, had hair shaved off, clothes taken away, uniform put on, told where to sleep, what to eat, externally controlled. And then the drill instructor tells them all the time how to march and how to move in the courtyard. That's the extreme, and that's necessary during a war. But the opposite of proactive is reactive person that is completely controlled by external stimulus. And then the third concept from Viktor Frankl, he left a legacy. There's a group of people, he says, with our freedom of proactivity comes responsibility. And this group that's carrying on his legacy is developing and making a statue of responsibility on the West Coast right now to match the Statue of Liberty, because he says that you can't have freedom without responsibility. And in fact, the concept of proactivity has to, in order to fulfill it, a person has to accept sole responsibility. Sole responsibility. You do that because nobody else knows what your wishes are. Nobody else knows who you are, what it'll take for you to be self-actualized and fulfilled. Only one person, and that's you. And in fact, guess what? Nobody else cares. Your boss doesn't care. Your boss is worried about keeping their level, and if it's a corporation, the profit. Parents don't always care. Sometimes they're into making you into a mini-me. They want you to be a lawyer or a doctor. They know what will fulfill your life, what's best for you. And sometimes your significant other doesn't. In other words, the concept requires one to take sole responsibility for their life and to identify. So that's the concept of proactivity. So the question comes now is, how is Magic Lamp in the story of Aladdin a metaphor for proactivity? Well, first of all, the magic lamp is proactivity. It's our ability to identify what would fulfill our heart's desire. Identify that. To set priorities of all the things you want. What 3 do you want? So our ability to say what's most important, what's most valued, and also to then request that or actualize it. Next comes the genie. The genie is symbolic of intrinsic motivation. For people that study intrinsic motivation, is people that have proactive goals in life, have this intrinsic motivation and desire to go towards them and fulfill them. If your boss tells you to do something, usually as soon as they go away, you take a break. Now, somebody who's intrinsically motivated are inspired, almost obsessed with their life. So what is the tiger's head symbolic of? What is that metaphor of? That's our dark side. That tiger spit out anybody that didn't believe they were a diamond in the rough. In order to be proactive, one has to believe in themselves. They have to believe they are a diamond in the rough. They have to believe that they have the answers for their own life, that they can do it. This is a serious issue. A lot of people are insecure about their decisions. A lot of people are insecure that they have the ability to figure out what's best for them. Oh, I'd rather be a codependent employee here. I'll just do whatever the boss says. It's easier. So the tiger's head is the dark side that we have to get past. And once somebody gets past, the cave of wonders is in us. It's internally. It's when we look inside ourselves, our unconscious, our conscious, our thoughts, our feelings. And when we get there, our cave of treasures is all our gifts and talents. Once we get past our cynical, dark side of the being, we can see our natural talents, the things we value, the things we love. We can see all the treasures in our life. But the most important treasure is finding or discovering that our magic lamp. And that magic lamp is our ability to decide what we're going to do. And guess what? As soon as one gets to that point, once they says, oh, I know really what I want out of life, the Jafars of life, try to take that away. No, they always have other plans for you. Take you someplace else. And so you retired at 70, and you've done everything that the corporation has wanted, and you're going, God, what did I do with my life? Is it really what I wanted? Did it satisfy me? So, now I'm going to tell you the anecdotal story of my magic lamp. I found my magic lamp when I was 16 years old in my parents' garage that they converted to a laboratory for me. And I love science, and I remember doing science experiments. And I remember sitting at this bench at about age of 16 and going, I wish I could be a scientist like Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison's a cool guy. The light bulb, the phonograph, the video camera. Yeah. So that was my first wish. There were 3 of them. About a year later, I was setting up a ham radio station in the garage, and I got this beautiful World War II military transmitter that I was going to convert to civilian use. And I got all the parts and everything, and I couldn't figure it out. And my second wish was going, oh, I wish I knew the secrets of electronics so that I could master this equipment. So that's how I used my second wish. And the third wish is I fell in love as a senior in high school and married my high school sweetheart and had my first daughter at 19. That teenage marriage fell apart when I was 23. And she left. I never saw her again. I had sole custody of a little 3-year-old. And I remember in the bleakness and the darkness going, how can I do this? I don't know how to raise a kid. And I remember making the third wish. And I go, I wish I could be a good daddy and figure out how to provide and how to care for my child. I'm 70 years old now. That was 50 years ago. And I look back and all those wishes have come true. At the age of 20, I worked in laboratories. I've worked as a scientist at different levels for 50 years. I might not be Thomas Edison, but I'm Dr. Brown. And I still love what I do. My first wish came true. Second one, when I was an evening professor and taught chemistry at UC, I got free tuition. So I went back and got my electrical engineering degree. And in 2012, I got the degree, and I'm working with sensors now, electronics and chemistry sensors. My second wish came true. And my third wish. My daughter grew up, left home. She's got 2 children of her own. I did it. I raised her, and she's got 2 children. In fact, I've had 5 more since then. These are all my children and grandchildren. So the third wish came true. The magic lamp is real. And the genie was released in me to motivate me to fulfill me. This is the call to action. What I would like everybody to do sometime is to do the magic lamp exercise. Do it while you're alone. Do it when there's no Jafars around. Go by yourself. Some people have a sacred spot, some people alone. And pretend you had a magic lamp. And pretend. And then make the 3 wishes. What 3 wishes? What 3 wishes would you do? Just do it for the fun of it. And then, most of all, write them down. And reflect on it. this is your first step, and the next habits of highly effective people is a mission and a vision in life. But that is exercising one's proactivity. I'm going to conclude this presentation in the guess of what if I had a fourth wish? What would I wish? I would wish that everybody that hears this presentation would find their magic lamp, get past the tiger's head, the negativity, see the treasures in them, find their magic lamp, identify the things in life that will fulfill and actualize your life, and be inspired, have the genie released in you to fulfill those. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, for the very inspirational speech. I feel very motivated to do some internal reflection